Want to level up your language skills in 2025? Let me show you how I'm making that happen for me. I'm currently in Germany. I've been living here for 1.5 years, and this is currently the time for me to really focus on my German language skills. So for 2025 Q1, while I have another main goal in terms of productivity, this is one of the side goals that I have to finish B2 in this quarter. I'm doing this while also working full time and starting my own business. So I'm hoping that some of these tips can help you as well in case you also have a busy schedule. But I just wanted to shed a bit of light onto how I do it, and maybe you will get some ideas off of it. So in case you're also thinking about learning a new language while also working full time and having a full schedule, keep watching because this video is also for you. Every quarter, I make a language learning goal as well. And as I said, this quarter it is to get to B2 for me in German. While I tried a lot of different methods, currently this is what works for me and my current lifestyle. So I'll take you through my daily routines and how I make sure that I fit language learning in, and also what systems currently work best for me. To start out my daily routine, I start out every day with 15 minutes of revising with Anki. I do this before I even get out of bed. Now, before you think I'm some sort of toxic productivity guru that says start your day with productive things before you even get out of bed, this is actually not the case. The reason why I'm doing this is because usually in the morning while I'm too tired, I don't want to get out of bed, I got into the habit of just doom scrolling. I realized that also during the day, I would also say I'm going to do Anki at some point. But there was one time when I decided to switch over from social media to Anki in the morning, and I felt like I wasn't missing out on the social media part, yet it really helped me to be consistent. I didn't have to think about whether I already did Anki that day or not, even though that would have been something that I did before. But also, I would be starting the day without any of the distractions that usually happen in the day, the lots of thoughts that come with it, and I would be just focusing on Anki for that 15 minutes of the day. Surprisingly, since I implemented this practice, I actually did not miss a single day of doing Anki, and I do not want to break my streak, so I'm just very glad that I found this to be very helpful and something that I can really stick to long term as well. I already talked about Anki in another video, so go watch those videos in case you're not familiar with it. But I really recommend it because for me, it really helps with vocabulary learning and making sure that I use up some dead time during the day to learn the new language. By getting out of bed, already feeling like I have already accomplished something, it really helps me to start my day on a positive note. Then, during breakfast, I usually listen to some German videos or podcasts, and I've only recently started doing this because now I'm at a level where I can really listen to interesting topics. I know a lot of people say immersion is the key and you have to start listening to things very early, watching things very early. And while you can, I feel like the videos that really help me on those levels are so boring that I can't stick to them. Thankfully, now I can really listen to these videos with some very interesting topics and learn some new words while I'm having breakfast, and also really keep up with what they're saying. My favorite for a long time has been Easy German, which breaks down daily conversations and topics in a really easily digestible manner, and it also has subtitles for me to follow in case there are words that I don't know. Thankfully, I have a 3-monitor setup here at my workplace, so while I'm watching the videos, I always have one monitor on, like you see now, and one side is the dictionary, the other side would be Anki, so I can immediately put things into Anki without wasting a lot of time opening it up every single time, or actually setting time aside to just put things into Anki. So I just keep that open throughout the day in case I encounter any new words, and that really helps me to keep on top of inputting things into Anki in the topics that I'm really interested in. Also, as I have recently mentioned in other videos as well, I'm currently attending German classes every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 hours each evening at the local Volkshochschule. This has proven to be really helpful for me because of my hectic schedule. Otherwise, it would be quite difficult for me to really take the time and sit down. But if I have that already scheduled into my calendar with a class that I already paid for, then I will just eventually force myself to do it. And every single time afterwards, I'm just glad that I did. It also really helps me with the pacing. If I feel like my life is quite chaotic outside of it, I have the tendency of just letting German be a slower paced thing. However, with this class, I just have to keep up with the class. There's no other choice, and it really helps me to not fall behind and take a lot of time to learn this language. So I would really recommend this to anyone who's already living in Germany, or you don't live in Germany but you're happy to pay in euros. Then you can just sign up for classes at the Volkshochschule. Normally all big cities have these institutions, and they provide German classes at a really affordable rate with a lot of different tutors. You can do it online as well, which is what I'm doing. And I feel like if you just keep up with the lessons and do a bit of language learning outside of the lessons as well, you can really progress fast and get to your goal very soon. During these classes, thankfully, again, the 3-monitor setup really helps me out because I can just get Zoom on my middle monitor, have the vocabulary set up on the second monitor, and my book on the third monitor. Of course, this is a luxury that not everyone can have, but what you can also do if you have such classes is to already open Anki on your phone during the class, so you can input any new words into it without having to take the time after the class to review those. Outside of the lessons, I also try to do some self-study. Normally this is 3 to 4 hours each week that I do, but of course some weeks it would be less, some weeks it would be more. During these self-study sessions, what I would do is I would have a notebook open, my book open, and also the Anki and dictionary set up, so I can really go through the reading exercises, listening exercises, a lot of grammar drills, and I try to get in a bit of writing practice every single week. But of course, if I'm really not feeling like doing any grammar drills or any hard work that week regarding German, what I would do is I open a documentary that would be very interesting for me in German. I still have the vocabulary set up to Anki set up, and then I just watch it, and every single time I encounter something interesting, I would write it down or put it into Anki for later. This way, I also get a bit of hearing practice in, I hear a lot of other things, and I also expand the vocabulary set. However, as I said, this really only works for me from B2 level onwards, because before that, I trained my brain to somehow just ignore the text that is coming in and only read the subtitles from another language, or my brain just tunes out and I ignore everything that's coming in. I don't even feel like I'm learning. But of course, this is only my personal experience. Maybe you have some other experiences regarding immersion at a lower level, but I will also make a video detailing all of this and my experience, how I learn languages at different levels in the future. So with that, the formal learning, vocabulary learning, and also grammar drills are done. For speaking, I unfortunately currently only do it during the lessons because I work from home in an English-speaking environment, so I don't really speak German that much. And I do have plans on getting an individual tutor again in the future just to amp up my speaking skills. However, just by doing writing practice, that also helps my speaking as well, because it is a way to train the output of that language. Of course, I still use German during day-to-day life for very simple conversations in shops and with the neighbors, but that is unfortunately just not enough for me to get to the C2 level I want in the future. So with that said, let's move on to how I track progress. So as I said, this quarter for me is not particularly heavy on language learning, because I do have a separate goal that I want to really focus on that is not language learning. However, as I said, it is still a side goal for me this quarter, and I do want to progress with German. So instead of tracking my progress in the traditional way, what I did is just track progress of how much I show up, how much I do Anki, and I still show up for every single class. Thankfully, as I said, the pacing of the classes and doing Anki every week still keeps me at a very good pace, so I don't have to focus too much on setting individual goals for each week or each month during this quarter, because I've already got that done at the beginning of the quarter. For the next quarters, I will of course be reviewing these goals, scheduling some individual classes, or anything that I want to integrate into the language learning journey for B2. So that is my language setup for 2025 Q1, and I hope that some of these tips or some of these things that I do can also resonate with you and help you on your language learning journey. But if you have any top tips that you use for language learning, any tools, routines, let me know in the comments below so we can all learn together. I'd love to hear what works for you and what doesn't. And also don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos on productivity, language learning, expat life here in Germany, and later on business. So happy learning. See you in the next video. Bye bye.